gentlemen, my brothers and my sisters, it is Brother Solis live with another episode of Coffee and the Truth. And I got Mr. Ellie Telefelli in the studio with me.
What's up, my vibers?
We told Brother Hall take the day off. Don't come into work. Take the week, the month, the year. Nah. He's spending some time with his family. And we hope that everyone had a good time with their family this week, had a great Thanksgiving. Helps us, reminds us what we're grateful and we're thankful for and everything that God has done. And we get to share it and spend it with the people that we love. Some I know couldn't be with us. Either they moved or went on to their reward, whatever the case is, but still give us that appreciation. So we hope that all y'all had a great time and didn't overdo it, because, you know, you got to keep the beach body in order, guys, all right? Because I know I might have overdid it with some cherry pie. We don't know yet.
Oh, man.
We don't know yet, all right? We're going to see when we check the scale on Monday. But last episode, we were talking about knowing your enemy. And I got with the guys and I said, you know what? I think we should do a series. Last season, we jumped into a series, and I think this season is going to need one too. In this series, we want to talk about fighting your enemy. And today, we want to discuss the enemy of notoriety. We live in a social media day and age, won't you say, Mr. Elliott?
Definitely.
And you being a drummer, I know there's pretty much a big hype with the music ministry right now. Everybody wants to be James Wilson and Mark Crowder and all these guys. And I'm not knocking, don't think that I'm hating on these guys or knocking. I'm not. I'm just saying they want to be that, won't you say?
Yes.
So you being a drummer, have you ever fell into that temptation or ever been tempted to want the recognition?
Honestly, to be honest with you, I would say no. I don't think I've ever really fell in that. It's always been for the kingdom, for the kingdom, for the kingdom with me, which I am very glad about that. I hope it stays that way. But about this topic, it kind of reminds me of about Lot and Abram, or Lot, and it's in Genesis chapter 13, and I'm going to read a lot. It's 10 through 18, and it says that Lot took a long look at the fertile plains of the Jordan Valley in the direction of Zor. The whole area was well watered everywhere, like the garden of the Lord, or the beautiful land of Egypt. And it says this was before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. Lot chose for himself the whole Jordan Valley to the east of them. He went there with his flocks and servants and parted company with his uncle Abram. So Abram settled in the land of Canaan, and Lot moved his tents to a place near Sodom and settled among the cities of the plain. But the people of this area were extremely wicked and constantly sinned against the Lord. After Lot had gone, the Lord said to Abram, "Look as far as you can see, that in every direction, north and south, east and west. I am giving all this land as far as you can see to you and your descendants as a permanent possession. And I will give you so many descendants that, like the dust of the earth, they cannot be counted. Go and walk through the land in every direction, for I am giving it to you." So Abram moved his camp to Hebron and settled near the oak grove belonging to Mamre. There he built another altar to the Lord. And so what I'd like to point out in this is that how Lot clearly saw the goodness of the Lord, but still moved his tent towards Sodom. And that's how it kind of reminds me of, I guess, some people, this apostolic walk, or even in the music part of this, UPC, UPCI, whatever you want to call it. But how there are so many people who do it for the likes, who do it for the follows, and who do it for the views on their recent video or anything like that. But Brother Solis, at the end of the day, when I pick up them sticks and I go in the drum cage, who should the glory belong to? It should belong to Him, and that's where it should stay. There is someone, it's one of my cousins who I guess is starting to begin to get deeper in he plays at a bunch of South Texas stuff. And one thing I really do love about this dude is that how he could easily worry about the likes on his Instagram page or about the follows on his Instagram page. But what I really do love about him is the relationship with God that he has. Of course, you know who I'm talking about, I'm sure. But that really encourages me as a drummer trying to rise in this, is that it don't matter about all of that, but it matters about the kingdom, and that's what it should matter about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I'm a youth pastor. I do my best to try to have knowledge of the trends and what's going on. And one of the big deals right now, especially with the social media day and age that we live in, is influencer. Mm-hmm. And I'll be honest with you. I mean, I ain't got nothing to hide from nobody on this podcast. My goal is to be authentic and real. Even I post things on Facebook and want people to like them.
Yeah.
Okay? That I don't think anybody posts something and be like, oh, I don't care if they... Yeah, you care. Why are you posting it? If you didn't care, you would have just kept it in your phone or kept it to yourself. But you're posting on social media because you want some type of reaction.
Yeah.
So, being an influencer, everybody, not everybody, but a majority of young people want the hype and they want that notoriety.
Yes, sir.
And we have to be careful because I call this the Lucifer syndrome. The reason why I call that and give it that name is because this is what the devil did. He used instruments and tools that were given to him, but to glorify God. But he took those tools and instruments and glorified himself, just tried to use the name of God.
Yeah.
Social media is a tool. I'm not knocking it. I'm not one of them to say whatever. It is a tool. Matter of fact, we got a new convert in the daughter work that we're starting, and it happened because somebody on social media happened to share the church. Okay, so I see that. But what we have to be cautious of is that notoriety.
Yes.
There's an enemy within us that wants us to get the recognition. And when I look at the Jesus Christ in his earthly ministry, it is amazing how the creator of the universe would come down in the flesh, and when the people wanted to make him king, he left. That's how humble he was. Mm-hmm. Why? Because if I'm puffed up and I'm put on this pedestal, then I can't come down to these common folk and help them. And I'm not saying that's what he said. That's what I think is.
Yeah.
They wanted to put him on a pedestal, but he realized I do better work in the valley than if I'm on a mountaintop, because usually when you're on the mountaintop, you're there alone. Mm-hmm. But it's in the valley where everything is growing and everything people are, and that's how I see why he chose to go to Capernaum and things of that nature. Why he chose to go to the parts of the world nobody wanted to go to or cared less about. Why? Because it was in there that there was a great work done. And some of the great testimonies that we have from his earthly ministry happen to be there. So this notoriety enemy that we are coming against is very easily undetected in our lives. Mm-hmm. Because we are trying to, for the lack of a better word, fit in. But we're not realizing that what we are trying to do is not fit in what God needs to do, what God needs us to do, but we're trying to fit in into what people like. So if guitar is popular, I'm going to try to pick up a guitar because that's what's popular. If people are singing, then I'm going to try to pick up my vocals and it gets undetected. And we think that we're doing good. We think that we're doing great.
Yeah.
But really and truly, our motives are unpure. And that's why we had to check ourselves and we had to get deep down inside with ourselves. Because what happened on Lot's situation is Lot seen everything that God did for him and Abraham. Mm-hmm. He took care of them. God took care of these men. They left a place that their whole livelihood was at and went to follow God to a place they never been to, never heard of, probably don't even know, hey, how are we going to make a living? Are we going to be? But they chose to trust in God. And here's some conflict arises. And of course, Abraham does the right thing and says, look, we're all family here. We don't need to be fighting.
Yeah.
And I love his relationship status with the Lord because it showed in this encounter because he tells Lot to choose. You ever stop and question yourself, why did he tell Lot to choose? Why didn't he choose first? Because it's simple. He done seen God do it, whether it was in the land of plenty, or the land of few. Mm-hmm. He already knew God was going to take care of him. He seen God take care of him when he felt people were going to kill him. He seen God take care of him whenever he took him to a land that he didn't know about. He seen God do so. He knew off the bat it didn't matter. Wherever I go, God got me. Lot's deal was, I know God, but still I'm going to choose what's popular.
Yeah.
And I'm going to choose the plenty. And this is where I'm telling you we have to be cautious of because our motives can be what we call hidden motives. We're doing something, and because it is for the kingdom, we think that it is for the kingdom.
Yeah.
But we have the kingdom mixed with my kingdom. And that's what I mean about the Lucifer syndrome, because that's what he had. I'm going to be busy doing a work, but not his work.
Yeah.
I'm going to be doing my work, but I'm going to say it's his work, but really and truly it's because I want my fall. And we know that Lucifer, he did fall. And he took some people with him, so he apparently had a following. And that's what we have to make sure is, are we looking to gain a following? Are we looking to gain for the Lord?
Yeah.
And so Lot's case was kind of messed up because of these hidden motives within his heart. It ultimately destroyed his family. We see what happened to his wife, and we can nitpick at her all day, but there's a joke that I say what is actually has a whole lot of meaning behind it, and I'm only as good as my leader. If this is what he looked to, what else was she supposed to look to?
Yeah.
Remember, he had his eyes fixed on the plenty, and that's what we can do. We can have our eyes fixed on the followers, and we can have our eyes fixed on the likes. We can have our eyes fixed on the hype. And that's what this is all she knew, and she only got it from her leader. And then we know she looked back. Well, why did she look back? because this is what I was told to look at to begin with.
Yes.
And so I'm losing everything. And Lecrae says something very interesting. He said, if you live for their acceptance, you would die for the rejection.
Wow.
Think about it. You want to be recognized by people that are chasing the trends. If purple is a trend of the week, they like purple. If turquoise is the next week, then they like turquoise. This is who you are trying to be an influencer to. Why not be doing something for a God that does not change? Mm-hmm. He stays the same regardless. He's not going to, this is what's trending on Twitter. All right, I'm going to get with that. Or this is what's going on in politics. He's not worried about that. He's worried about me and you. And we have to be careful of this notoriety. So, of course, this whole topic and this whole podcast is fighting your enemy. How do we fight notoriety? Well, Jesus Christ helps us with that. And that is found in Luke 9:23. And it's very simple. We hear it. We probably even quote it. But take heed to it. This is how you're going to fight notoriety. And he said unto them all, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself. Mm-hmm. Usually we say take up the cross, but the first thing that we had to do is we had to deny ourselves before God. Before we even want to be involved in the choir, before we even want to be involved playing instruments, before we even want to be involved in an outreach, we must deny ourselves. You want to know one of the biggest reasons why I didn't chase the pulpit, Brother Elliot?
Why?
It's because I used to want the recognition. Like I said, I was a rapper before this. My head grew probably 10 times big whenever I was in Ocampo. I still remember this day. I was at my brother's house, and I had this drop the mixtape. This dude seen me outside of my brother's house. I didn't know what he was listening to. I thought he was just another dude passing by listening to some rap music. He busts a U-turn, goes to the stop sign because my brother lived on the corner, and blares his music. He was listening to my mixtape. I did not chase pulpits because of that. And you got to see me. I have preached dozens of times.
Yeah.
This year, matter of fact, alone, I have preached the most I ever preached in my life. I'm a licensed minister. And I can tell you, I still don't puff that up. I don't, because I know that notoriety is one of my enemies. And so I didn't chase pulpits because I know that I wanted the name, and I always wanted the platform, and I always wanted the stage. And it was always about my kingdom. I was talking to a brother the other day. I said, God delivered me from one of the biggest things. He delivered me from me. Mm-hmm. And how did I do this? How was I able to get to the point to where I am today? How was I able to become a licensed minister? How was I able to become a youth pastor? How? Simply when I denied myself, man. And that's how I fought the enemy of notoriety. I had to deny myself. Why? I had to realize that it was myself who put myself in this position. It was me that led myself into all the hurt and all these things that I faced in life. It was me, the reason why I needed to say, God, forgive me. So why would I still try to be chasing after me? And this is what I mean about fighting this notoriety. You got to understand, look at everything that you have done and how successful have you have been at it. You have to. Mm-hmm. You have to look and say, you know what? Everything that I try to do on my own, look at everything that it's done. And start looking at everything that you allow God to do in your life and which numbers are greater.
Yeah.
Why not go with that? So Jesus tells us to deny ourselves. Then he says, and take up his cross daily and follow me. This is where we all get all tripped out. I heard preachers preach about this. Oh, you got to cut the giant's head off. You know, the Bible actually says Goliath was dead when David hit him with the stone, right? People when the preachers say, oh, he cut off his head, he wasn't dead yet. Yes, he was. Read the word. It will tell you Goliath was dead when he was hit with the stone. David goes over there to let everybody know over there, all the other enemies, I ain't here to play no games. So he cuts off his head. And I hear preach, oh, you got to cut off his head. No. You want to know why Jesus Christ used that word daily?
Why?
Because me and you got to recognize that this is an everyday thing.
Yes.
This is not I said, forgive me, God, 6 years ago, and I've been forgiven. Yes, you're right. But you are still you.
It's an everyday battle.
It's an everyday battle, man. Yeah. You don't think that these things are going to try to pop up? Yeah, I hear some brothers, they tell me, oh, man, God delivered me from cigarettes, and I hate those things. You will have those encounters. Mm-hmm. But there's still something that you like that God ain't, that you have to fight. Sorry, I was going to say that God didn't deliver. No, that you still have to fight.
Yeah.
And it's a daily walk.
Daily.
It's a daily fight. And so you have to understand that just because you overcame notoriety this week on Twitter or this week on IG, don't think that next week is going to be your friend. This is a daily thing. So now I'm denying myself. Now I'm taking up my cross. Why? Because it's estimated that the cross was 300 pounds. You try to carry around 300 pounds every day and see if it's unnoticeable. Mm-hmm. It's going to be recognized.
Yeah.
You gotta have some kind of recognition of why you're doing this. Why are you doing this? So Pastor told me the other day, because I'm learning sound doctrine. I'm working with the sound in the church, okay? Our aliens over there cringing at me. And he told me, have you been, studying? I said, to be honest with you, no. He's all like, oh, you've been worried about podcasts. And I said, no, I've been worried about my youth. We had some difficulties with the sound. And there was a lovely sister in there. Shout out to Sister Jenny. She wanted to help. And she's all like, hey, brother, try this. I said, I had a Bible study I had to do, with some young people. And I was all like, you can try it. I mean, yes, that's important, but right now, me getting people educated in the word is more important to me. And so I did these things. But I have to realize, because he then back to the story about Pastor, and he's all like, oh, you worried about work? I said, nah, that ain't work. I said, my job, me welding, that's work. I said, but the youth, that's my choosing. And what I mean by that, that's what God has chose me to do. What are you saying, Brother Solis? I'm making sure every day that I can feel that 300 pounds that I'm carrying around. Yeah. Every day that I got to realize I have been chosen for this. And there's purpose behind this. There was purpose behind that cross. He just didn't take it up because that was the trend. That was what was going around. Hey, everybody's getting crucified, man. Let me join. No. He did it because there was a reason. It was not work to him. To him, it was love. And so I have to carry around this love for him, and I have to carry around this love for y'all, and I have to carry around this as a reminder that it is not about me. And yes. That's why it's important for you to gain a burden. Mm-hmm. Because a burden is going to have something on you that you cannot shake off. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be a reminder of what you need to do for the kingdom. You lack a burden, it's because it's probably notoriety that's in the way. Wow. Because you ain't never going to get no burden off of notoriety. Mm-hmm. And I'm just being real. Why? Because it's about you. But whenever you start doing something for God, you're going to feel that burden. You're going to feel that load. I got to do this. I got to do this. Why? Because God did not have to choose me. Mm-mm. God is not obligated to save me and you. He chose, man. And that's what I mean by choosing. You got callings in the Bible. Because remember, he said, many are called, but few were chosen. And that's why I told Pastor, this is my choosing. This is what God has chosen me for. It was a calling, and in the calling, it led to me being chosen. And now I walk with purpose. But I have to walk with this cross, because this cross is something that is reminding me every day, it is not about you, but it's about him.
Yes.
That's why we have to take up this cross. And then after we take up this cross, okay, I denied myself. I took up this cross. And then he says the third thing, I got to follow him. Why? Because his footsteps are never going to mislead me.
Mm-hmm.
Follow him. Follow him on Twitter. Follow him. And Elliot's smiling at me. You know what I mean by that. Yeah. What I'm saying, before you get on, follow his spirit. Follow his word. He will unction you to say something. He will unction you to tweet. It was the other morning. I'm sitting there doing my daily reading, and the Lord unctions me to send a scripture to you. Remember?
Yeah.
How do you think that happened? Because somebody woke up and said, it's not about me. Mm-hmm. It's about you, God. It's about you. And so as I'm reading his word, yes, I understand I need to take in some things for me. I'm not knocking you if you're reading the word and you need something for you. I believe in that, because I can't give something that I don't got. But here I am, the Lord filling me up. He says, now share it. Mm-hmm. And so I said, okay. And then that's when I sent it to you. Why is that? Because it's not about me, man. It's whatever God needs me to do. And so I need to follow. Look, see, I was followed. That's what I mean about follow him. And he would tell you what you need to tweet. He would tell you what scriptures you need to be engaged in. He would tell you what you need to say. Do the same thing on IG. Do the same thing on Facebook. If you're into live, do the same thing. Allow him. We even had it, and you got to witness it on this podcast. We prayed. We had a whole episode lined out of what we wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
And we asked the Lord that, hey, whatever you need to say, move us out the way. And he did.
He did.
We had an episode. We had somebody that we don't even know reached out to us on was it YouTube?
Yes.
And they said they found us by coincidence. And we know they found us by God, because we were here praying and we weren't even supposed to do that episode. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, we already did the episode previously, but had some sound errors and we had to redo it. This is what I'm talking about, how God works. But how did it happen? Because 3 individuals chose to deny themselves and take up a cross and then follow. All these go hand in hand. You can't not, it's like making a cake. Yeah. You can't skip a certain ingredient. It ain't going to come out right. These all come together. And this is how we're going to fight notoriety. When we kill ourselves and we say, hey, man, you got to go. Why? Because really and truly, name me one kingdom on this earth that was built by a man that lasts forever. Mm-hmm. Which one? None. But there's one kingdom that was built by God that's going to last forever. And it's still going hard. Mm-hmm. This is what trips me out about this. I'm like, name me one thing that's been going on for years. We can't even get cars to last 50 years. Without having to restore some things and having to fix some things and rebuild some things. But this has been lasting forever. Now, why would you put your hands in something that right now you may be getting 100 likes and 1,000 comments or whatever right now? But remember, that kingdom ain't going to last. Casting Crowns, I believe, remember they got the song, I'm Just a Nobody, trying to tell everybody. I love their music. I really do. Me and my brother were listening to their album yesterday, album that we grown to love, that actually helped us in our walk. And we're, they have a song called Loving My Jesus. And I love what they say. Making your great ain't known, if this be my only legacy, if this is the only legacy that they remember me about, if the only legacy that people can sit there and look at Elliot Staines and say, you know what, man, all they do want to do is talk about Jesus. All he wanted to do is play drums for Jesus. Man, you know, he could have played in this rock and roll band, or he could have played this, he could have played there. But man, he chose to go to church, and he chose it. As long as you got that testimony, baby, it ain't about you.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
But whenever you start doing it, and them hidden motives start to rise up, how you going to kill them? You're going to fight them things by denying yourself, man. Kill them things and say, you know what? Hold on. I feel a little bit of me popping up here.
Yeah.
Kill it. Get that burden back. Pick up that burden back. Pick up that work back. Okay, now I feel that weight, Lord. I feel that weight of what you need me to do. I feel it. Now, where do you need me to go? How can I follow you? How can I follow you? And he will lead you. What did David say? Your word is a lamp unto my feet.
Yeah.
A light unto my path. What you need a lamp for if you can see everything?
Mm-hmm.
What you need a lamp for? He couldn't see, apparently. You need a lamp during that time because it was dark. And direct me. And this is what he said, because he is his word, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's him leading David in times of uncertainty. And that's why we need God leading us, because a burden, we're not going to automatically know what our burden is. Some of us get a deep down burden. We just feel like we need to pray. And then it's when we start following him, and we're going to start growing in that, he's going to show you, okay, this is why I need you to pray. Or this individual I need you to, or this country, or this in particular is what I need you to be praying for. But it's not until we start getting into that, getting that burden and getting that weight, we're denying ourselves. Now we're submitting ourselves to you, God, and now we're taking on that burden, and now we're starting to follow you, and he's going to help us grow. So my listeners, my people, because y'all more than just listeners, y'all my people. We're in this thing together. Make sure notoriety is something that you're killing daily. Make sure that notoriety is under your feet and not next to you. Make sure that every day you're cutting its head off. Because all notoriety is going to do is not only crush you, but what happened with Lot, it ultimately destroyed his wife. So it's not only going to affect you, it's going to affect people around you. It's going to affect your church. It's going to affect your loved ones. Remember, this world needs to know about this God. And this world is in need of what we have. Let us not get caught up in who we are, but let us be caught up in who he is. I love y'all, my people. I want y'all to be encouraged and know that yes, you can put a stop and you can put an end to notoriety. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Stay vibing.